Hello, everyone. We know many of you are waiting for a response from our team, and we are working diligently to get you all the information you deserve. As previously mentioned, our team has recorded daily calls for the last 28 months, averaging 8 hours per day. Out of respect for the people speaking about their personal lives on the calls, we will edit out that portion. We have to transcribe the recordings, edit out the personal information and such. It is very time consuming. In the meantime, we'd like to address what really happened last week and the situations leading up to it, what you can expect to hear in the audios, and some things to ponder as we prepare this information for you. As for me, I can say I have always been Kim's biggest supporter and protector, so much so that people said I was censoring the threads. I can understand why people are saying that, as I really thought I was protecting Kim and the team from seeing hateful comments. As I see it now, some of you were able to see through the veil sooner than we were and put some pieces together, and for that, I am grateful. We stopped removing questions from the threads for the last few months, unless people were just being mean to each other or the team. Truth be told, some of the questions started to make a lot of sense, and many were asking difficult questions that we believe you deserve the answer to. I personally started seeing holes in the stories and connecting the dots in October, and more proof came in November and December. I saw the writing on the wall and believe Kim realized I was aware of the holes and was looking for a way to remove me. Or perhaps it was just time for her to find a fall guy and start over, as she has done many times in the past. Kim became less effective in covering her tracks, and the inaccuracies of her statements became much more obvious. I knew what she was up to. She began orchestrating her plan, which was to turn everyone against me, as she was afraid I would share with them all the dots I had connected. She planned to build up sales through renewals for the month of December and get everyone, including Vera, to get on her side and remove me prior to getting paid, which would have been in January. Unfortunately for Kim, Vera has been here all along and was a witness to what had transpired, so she didn't fall for Kim's attempts to take everything over and remove me. Kim played her hand a little too soon and told us if we didn't take the offer she offered, she and the production team would walk on January 8th. When Vera didn't bite, she started accusing Vera of things that were not true, like she had been doing to me in the previous weeks, as to make her part of the bad guys, so to speak. And so it began. On the morning of December 28th, Kim had Mike Schneider, the UNN production manager, and her roommate remove Vera, my team, and myself from the production thread. Michael Lane is a witness, as he was also in that thread. No explanation, just gone. Later that day, Michael Lane was also removed. Vera and I did nothing. We just watched and waited. On Friday morning, Kim had recorded the news, but never attempted to load it on the United Network app. She had planned all along to load it on her new Rumble channel. On Friday afternoon, Kim, and what we will reference as the girls' call, didn't join our daily Zoom call, which means she had started her own Zoom calls with the remaining 3 ladies and had moved on without Vera and I. We knew then Kim had made all the first moves to remove us, and we had no choice but to secure the business. Of course, Kim will tell you we removed her and hijacked the threads. That is not true, as I already owned the threads, and Kim removed us from one of the 2 threads she had control of, which was the production thread. She then used the United Network News thread, as she is the owner of that thread, to start promoting her new channel. We have a screenshot of Kim leaving the main general chat thread on the 29th, although she stated we removed her on the 28th. Not true. For that matter, you can see from her post, she already had a new corporation formed on the 28th. She must have been in a hurry, as she used her and Mike's home address on the filing. The other part she failed to tell you is I am personally on the hook for a 2-year contract with Vimeo, and all vendors and contracts for that matter. She wanted to take over all the money owed in my name and have all the access. That was not a viable offer. Her second offer was to take it to take the first offer or there would be no back pay. As she stated, it was Source's project. And I just didn't know Source was in the business of blackmail. She also failed to tell you she didn't want a bank account in her name and told me that about a month ago. She used the excuse that she lived in a podunk town. I thought money was money, regardless of where you live. Some of the things you can expect to hear on the future recordings. 1, you will hear how poorly Kim speaks of Tom Melville. 2, you will hear how most of the time is spent with the gal on the call running trays on 2 standard biofeedback devices to detect frequencies and intention of the bad guys. Kim supposedly goes in, clears the trays and the bad guys, and we move on. The only thing is nothing is really getting removed, and you will hear Kim say that multiple times, that things keep coming back. You will hear that 99% of Kim's intel is not coming from her or any quantum system. She relies mainly on someone else's guides for all her answers. You will hear how Kim really handles herself behind the scenes. There is much ego and fear. You will hear Kim admit she has never spoken to the generals, the archivist, or the legions. You will hear where her legion intel really came from. You will find out where the information about the Arcturians coming in to help really came from. And is it a credible source? You'll begin to question whether Kim is actually protected in a zone as she claims. There's things that you may want to ponder as we release this information and put out the truth. 1, if Kim is who she says she is and has access to a system that can map the entire planet while also detecting people's intention, then why does she need to be on the phone with other people's guides 7 days a week for 8 hours a day for her news? Why does she have to use a gal to use 2 standard biofeedback devices when she has Kim's system? 2, why do we still have chemtrails? 3, Kim announced she would take over the White House on November 15th and be president in every country. What is the status of that? 4, why did Kim make such a big deal about the Trump family making an announcement and then kick the can down the road when it didn't happen? 5, Kim announced last week that money would be transferred the next couple days after Sunny pressed her for an answer. Has anyone received any funds yet? 6, why does Kim bring in a new update or distraction when she has no results to report? For example, the Silent Circle, the Arcturians, neutrino boxes, legions. Number 7, the ACIO. Why is the ACIO claiming Kim has plagiarized their intel? We will post the links below this post so you can actually hear for yourself what's going on. So I would just ask you to consider, if you took the money and the hopium out of this mission, is there anything that you can prove that Kim has really ever done? She claims to have removed millions of bad guys, prevented bombs, prevented many things, but no, I can't see one thing that is actually provable that she's done. And I've been on these calls, as I stated, 7 days a week for 28 months in a row, for averaging 8 hours a day. So I feel like I have a lot of information. So please stay tuned. We have much more information coming out. We just ask that you listen with new eyes and new ears, and hopefully you will have no further harm in this mission.